Wow. Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali, this is a hell of a advocacy. Even just simply doing anything on a camera is just weird as heck. Um, because you could have little glitches, like I just said a mouthful and I didn't press the record button on the StreamYard site. So I didn't capture anything I said. And just at the initial outset, I don't hope this will be long, but it could be. And you're just watching the entire thing all the way through, leaving a comment. There've been a couple people who've been brave enough to leave comments. I think a lot of people are nervous for some, unique individual reason or just scared. This is not the era to be scared. These are the last days. We got to speak up, all right? And so, oh, you might be wondering what these are. These are my new Faraday gloves because I'm very electromagnetic sensitive. And they work. These guys work. I even have a grounding wire going to my outlet, and I have to remember to put them on because they have calmed down the pain that just using my mouse and my keyboard on my PC were causing me. And I have these with a wire because when I had the, Wi-Fi, like they have those earbud things, and I'm like, I stay way away from those. It would warm my hands up to the point of pain. I don't want to cause that because I've done enough research on radiation and also the damage that waves, these things right here, cause to organic matter and also inorganic matter that I know better than to just keep doing that constantly, because after a certain amount of time your cells, when it comes here, this is the wavelength of cell phones, and behind that is the microwaves, and this is considered non-ionizing. They call it non-ionizing because it doesn't utterly rip apart organic matter, as opposed to the ionizing radiation, which just rips apart everything that gets in its way. Yet we often will, go on about, oh, but the, cell phone towers are causing the death of the creatures in the ocean. The 5G is doing all of these different things. But this is just hertz. This is megahertz in the way of my chair back here. This is all very imperfect. It's gigahertz. And then we have terahertz and petahertz. I think that's petahertz. Don't quote me on that. But then we have exahertz, which is what gamma rays put out. With X-rays, and I have to just at the end, I'm going to put a share that I put on child restricted. So it only has 79 views. And I did that because I showed the photos of the horrific damage it caused the technicians' hands who were operating X-ray machines back in the day, before they realized that these waves that it was putting out was going to utterly destroy their hands, and the photos just clearly show the damage. And so, yeah, I got my Faraday gloves, even though what I'm dealing with is all the way down here. And a lot of people, your body may not be letting you know that electronic pulse is causing some sort of damage, and all you need is a cell that is tired of being jostled, because that's the waves from your cell phone that give you a call from wherever. They get through your walls. They're going to get through your skull. Okay. And that is just at gigahertz. What the hell is this stuff doing all the way down here? The gamma rays. And we're eating the radiation. We're breathing it in. What the hell is that going to do down here when this is billions to the power of 10 and more than 10? levels where with gamma rays, you have to be behind a 20-foot thick piece of lead in order for it not to penetrate into you. Where it would then, once it gets in you, and it's already in you, because there's no way we're not eating radiation, especially with the push in the sea moss. All sea vegetation absorbs massive quantities of radiation. You're eating it, it's not absorbing anything in you because it's going to have catastrophically more. And so there's going to be a stabilization where it's offloading all the radiation into your body. All right. And so they're pushing that stuff, super heavy time. Now I notice with the white people, what they're doing is they're pushing seafood to the white people now, because I mentioned the disparity, how they were sending the sea moss just us directly. They still are. All right. So yeah, just leave that stuff alone. But yeah, I thank Brother Matt Black for saying that this is really effective. Hopefully this works and I won't have to re-record everything that I said. Listen to the whole share all the way through, because goodness gracious, I adore you. I adore your comments. I love it when you subscribe, because it lets me know I should keep doing this. Go to 25,000yearcycle.org and prevail or avail yourself of all of our products. And Dr. She has just announced on Saturdays and Sundays, see how I'll find it so that I can make sure I have it the right time. I think from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'll verify by the end of the video, you could call for a consultation for free. And you don't even have to make an appointment. All right, that's incredible. And with every single order we get, I'm sending a sample of the Silk Care cream for free for a limited time, because these things, shipping it costs money. It's like the postage is incredible. And that's why we include it in the prices. People may go to the site and say, wow, well, this is that. We use the finest of ingredients, the absolute finest. So much to be said, but let's get to the abolishment of the National Oceanic Atmospheric Agency. Oh my God. Okay, I did it again. I didn't press record and I did almost a whole share. Oh boy, this is fun. Let's start out with the article that it was written by the New York Times right here. White House plan calls for NOAA research program to be dismantled. National Oceanic Atmospheric Agency. Let's go to the projection map that I got from the NOAA when Fukushima was exploded. All right. That's Japan over there. That's the Pacific Ocean. Those are just two isotopes. There's almost 3,000. And the map is highlighting, I think, the span of a month of emissions from the exploded nuclear facility. And you see here, it's just covering going up to the United States. I mean, the red and the orange are the hottest isotopes. So I in a month's time, I don't know if that would include plutonium, but it would include some serious incinerating frequencies, as I showed in the graph behind me that I did on StreamYard. Yeah, there's no way that everybody did not encounter even just one atom of what came out of it and is still spewing out of Fukushima, because ain't no caps up on top of that sucker, because it's just too daggone hot. And they would be incinerating to all organic and inorganic matter, as I showed with the explanation of the Wigner effect, which is in Britannica, an encyclopedia website, saying how it destroys inorganic matter. So let's read the article. It's a short article. And the headline, they often employ the tactic of making the headline less exacting than the actual article will then be. Because here it's just, speed dismantle. It sounds like no big deal, right? So Trump administration officials are recommending the elimination of the Scientific Research Division at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I keep saying agency's administration, according to internal documents obtained by the New York Times. I would hazard a guess that the New York Times is trying to rescue its dismantled reputation simply because they are so obviously just part of the agenda, part of the programming, and they're trying to resuscitate their credibility, like all whiteism institutions right now. In supporting the agenda of whiteism, they wind up becoming completely untrustable. Everyone gets doubts about them. Well, I'm also going to just cover how even these alternative websites, they are absolutely not to be believed either completely. Whenever you're dealing with white people, there's good white people out there. I'm not saying that they're not. I haven't run across a single one that's been about our rescue. And so that all the truths can be revealed. No, they're always just trying to stack the deck. Oh, yeah, we're all one human race. And then they start to completely eradicate the differences so that we can rescue ourselves. It's like, oh, no, you're so sensitive. You can get over that happened so long ago. No, it's happening now, all right? So, and several people with knowledge of the situation. The proposal from the Office of Management and Budget would abolish the Oceanic and Atmospheric Research Office at the NOAA, which would have been responsible for that projection map I showed you, one of the world's premier earth sciences research centers. Why would they want to do all of that? Because of Fukushima, because they've killed the oceans. And when you kill oceans, you lose. The thing about being a liar is it's hard to remember all your daggone lies. It's hard to remember how what truth you were even trying to obfuscate using the lies. And thereby, that's why they have that AI out there, because there are different ways you could still find out the truth. You could get different books, like me with all of my radiation books. I am so grateful to those white anti-Nugrasu's truth tellers, right? But with the AI, they could also get rid of the whistleblower truth tellers who have been foremost in just keeping some semblance of sanity going in these various institutions that nonetheless, all of it, even for the good white people, they're always going to want to protect their own. And that's where their weakness comes in. Where they're like, no, you just, don't divide and conquer. The division happened when they came and they abducted us into slavery, so that each and every single one of us almost don't really remember, have no familial knowledge of where we came from, so that we could see it as a history, not as just a legend that then we have to keep arguing back and forth amongst each other over, where's this one come from? Where's that one come from? Where's the little, and none of us really know. That's a horrible crime. And so when you act like everything's copacetic, everything's okay, insert this kind of madness, Fukushima, where then they're peddling CMOS to us ad nauseum. And so budget allocation of just over 170 million, down from about 485 million in 2024. That's a huge cut, huge. Would hobble science as varied as early warning systems for natural disasters, science education for students in kindergarten through high school, and the study of the Arctic, where temperatures have increased nearly 4 times as fast as the rest of the planet over the past 4 decades. Let's go to that map. Alrighty, as it's uploading, this is the International Atomic Energy Agency. They're the one ring that controls all the other ones, okay? Even though the what is it? I forget which other Nuclear Regulatory Commission is run by the WHO. It is on in its tenets. It says it can't say anything unless the IAEA approves of it. So in the book, The Crime of Chernobyl, and I hope Dr. Yuri Bandashevsky is doing wonderfully. I really do, because I see nothing from him that's recent anywhere. And I imagine that they're really trying to shut that genie back in the bottle of nuclear. Because they're swearing that, oh, the reputation of nuclear is back. I'm going to explode it in just this one share. But in The Crime of Chernobyl, it laid out exactly how viciously evil that agency is, and how they shut down comprehensive, in-depth research after the Chernobyl disaster. And so you just read the book and you'll find out. Okay? But I think they have this website here because they have to give a semblance of a proposition that they're legitimate. And that's what you find out whenever you see what they've done historically, is that they want to look like they're credible. So when it comes to the daggone Arctic, these right here are all the studies, the test samples they did. One I found, 52. 52 different nuclear isotopes emitting waves of energy, like I showed in that graph at the very beginning of this share, that are in the exahertz range of power, that you need a 20-foot wall of lead in order to stop them. Ain't no 20-foot wall of lead stopping anything that's sending out heat, massive heat, that's hotter than actual heat. Okay? Up on the Arctic Circle. This is where global warming is coming from. That's why in the article they even showcase most of the heat is coming up in the Arctic range. What did they find in there? Cesium-137, Cesium-134. I don't know what TC is, 99, strontium 90. There was another one I found where they also had plutonium-239 and plutonium-240. Come on now. That plutonium definitely puts out serious gamma waves. Okay? And the tritium is hot water, it's radioactive water. And so how in the world did they never, ever, ever, ever mention any of this? And not a word. And it's all up in the Pacific Ocean. And the only other place you see as deluged by radiation as the Arctic is Fukushima. That's just because of the way it all sweeps up. It just goes on up to there. And also, we don't know what research they're doing on up in there. I'm just saying. Okay? Greenland, anybody? Why does Trump want Greenland so daggone much? I'm just saying. All right? Let's see if over here, down in the Antarctic, oh, look, it's not as pronounced. Ta-da! You don't need a giant friggin' lab in order to just figure this stuff out. I'm just saying, I'm not mad at you. No, I'm mad at the devils who are doing this to our planet. And then why don't you ever say a word about Fukushima? Well, I'm going to say it all. So I thank Dr. Shi for sending me this article and two others I'm going to use also. But I was like, God damn, these people don't give a damn anymore. And they don't. Because they'll never, ever confess. That's how huge it is. When you kill oceans, you lose. But not if the whole world doesn't know that you've lost. Right? Nuclear waste heat use in agriculture, histories, and opportunities in the United States. Nuclear waste is the stuff they don't know what to do with. And at the outset of the building of nuclear power plants, they admitted, well, this stuff is really volatile, because otherwise they would commodify it and make something else out of it, right? And They were originally storing it in underground facilities, and the promise was sooner or later we're going to figure out what to do with this stuff. We promise, because we're scientists, and you can trust us. And because the politicians were paid by all of these different corporations, they're like, oh, okay, if you swear, as long as I can get my McMansion, I'm cool. Okay? And so this is just a whole collaboration of evil people. And the promise can never be fulfilled because there's nothing you can do with something so freaking volatile, and it keeps on fissioning constantly, that they have to go back, like they dry casket. They put it, literally, they melt it in with glass molecules so that it can stay as contained as possible. And then they put it in these containers made by Rubbermaid. And they would put that in underground facilities, waste sites. But it winds up getting so, just intensive, and it keeps fissioning that they have to either go in and recontain it all over again, or they just sort of ignore it. And after a while, they started allowing the nuclear waste to be stored on site of the nuclear facilities. But there's only, have you seen Fukushima with all the tanks all over the friggin' place? From the water that they have to keep, salt water, which is highly corrosive, and they have to keep pouring it on those power plants because they haven't stopped spewing. Okay? And they haven't built a sarcophagus because they can't. They can't. It's too. Fukushima was the largest nuclear power plant in the world, and it was 4 of them that exploded, but there was every single one of them, and I think there was a total of 6 that were heavily damaged. Okay? Chernobyl was a lit match. I ain't make this meme, but somebody else did. I'm not the only person talking about man-made radiation, and there are so many books and books written about it that I'm not making this stuff up. Right? And I'm just letting you know they've lost. And that's why everything's going haywire crazy right now, on purpose, because they need to keep us from recognizing what we're facing. Chernobyl is in no way near as catastrophic as Fukushima, where it was just one graphite-run reactor, and Fukushima was the one. Unit number 4 was run by MOX fuel. That's plutonium. Okay? There's no way that it's on the same level of catastrophic as Chernobyl. But when you go looking up on the web, if you're just doing a general search, Chernobyl was the worst nuclear disaster ever. No, it wasn't. What they don't talk about, there's a reason for it. And so for this one, where they're going to use waste heat, that's what they call it, WH, right there, low grade. There's no such thing as low. They use this language to confuse people. Low grade WH. There is no safe level of radiation, not even one atom. Okay? And it just reminds me, think of the x-rays. Right now in Daily Mail, they came out with an article where they're like, the CAT scans are what's causing all the cancers. CAT scans use x-rays. That's a ray. That's one ray that lasts for maybe a minute, if a minute. And that causes cancer. We're talking about eating an atom that puts out 1,440 X-rays, gamma rays, beta waves, just it keeps on going. And then it puts out little shooting particles, right? That's going to cause cancer. So when they say low-grade waste heat, they're full of crap. This is just stuff and this would be so volatile because it's the waste that they can't commodify. And they're going to use it in agriculture. Here's something else coming from the IAEA, okay? Farmers in, get this, Argentina, Brazil, India, Indonesia, Kenya, and Uruguay
are increasing crop yields and enhancing the fertility and quality of the soil in an environmentally friendly, cost-effective way, thanks to the result of an IAEA coordinated research project recently concluded in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
Oh my God. Oh my God. They are distributing the nuclear waste all around the planet. I heard and I know that the soil that they dug up from Fukushima and all the surrounding areas, that's like, I mean, it's so gigantic. It can be seen from outer space, the portions where they do go. But they were going to use that in soil. They were going to repurpose it so people could use it in their gardens and wouldn't even know where it came from, right? But they're just going to use the out and out nuclear waste so that the farmers who are in these countries, when they're growing their food in hot houses, and I'm like, look at these countries. These countries are hot houses. They don't need hot houses to grow extra crops. It's simply that the rain is radioactive too. And so that's bringing it down. And this is probably proposed as ways that they could start growing massive crops enough to feed whatever people are left after the Georgia Guidestones kill off eating, right? And how do you power these things? Well, they're sending them to these just regular, honest, down the earth people like they are nuclear physicists or nuclear engineers capable of understanding the danger that they're facing integrating this stuff into their farming practices. This is nuts. Because look at this. This is Yale Environment 360. Right here is a photo of engineers test pyro processing, a method for recycling spent nuclear fuel at the Argonne National Laboratory in Lemont, Illinois. If this stuff could be just handled by regular folk, regular farmers, and it could be in a hothouse, right up where there's food being grown that folks are going to consume, and they got to go through all these protocols, all this protective gear in order to get anywhere, not even near it. And this stuff is going to be used by regular people. How are they going to know how to do this? When are they going to have time to handle this level of energy? And even these folks right here, they're stupid as hell. They're stupid as hell. You don't go to Yale to learn how to tell the truth about radiation. No, you don't. Ain't nobody coming out of Yale telling you the truth about almost anything. As I said, their institutions, they're crumbling. They're all crumbling. And the thumbnail, that's actually was a building that toppled in Taiwan. And my condolences if anyone lost their lives. It's just it suited the picture of the pillar from the actual NOAA building for the thumbnail art. But yeah, this is like with the SMRs, small modular reactors, where they swear they're going to be able to make these nuclear power plants so that they're teeny, like, you know, when you get chocolate chip cookies and it comes in a teeny tiny little package and you think, oh, this won't get me fat. And then after you've eaten the 7th bag, because you're so cute, right? Do you not get fat? Well, same thing with the small modular reactors. You cannot change the laws of physics to suit whiteism. Okay? That energy that is in the graph that I showcased at the beginning, you can't change gamma waves. And so that they'll be nice, Gamma. Please, Gamma, be nice. No, it'll liquidate all your organs if you're close enough to it. Right? And so these guys, this is the article here titled, this is also from Dr. Shi, Recycling Nuclear Waste, a Win-Win or a Dangerous Gamble. Gamble? That's like saying walking in front of a freight train or bullet train. Is that a win-win or a dangerous gamble? Right? As I say, with their headlines, they make sure that the headlines sound all tame because most people just stop at the headline. They don't actually read the article. But then when I read this article, I was like, this is just a bunch of propagandistic crap. Because, well, where's it coming from? It's coming from Yale. Right? You see, they're like with the New York Times, they're tearing all these Ivy League institutions down because lies cannot be supported when the truth is put right in front of you. And so they're getting rid of the NOAA because you don't. I found all of this data by doing adequate research, enough research. Because I was just like, you know what? I want to know. Am I telling the truth? Right? And so it's out there, but because they got the AI now and they got the Doge, D-O-G-E, with, what's it, Elon Musk, who's supposed to be so much of a freaking weirdo that he makes Trump look like he's a normal, regular guy. Okay? They've got so much truth that they need to keep lying to hide that they're like, look, we got to get rid of institutions like this. What's this got to do with some DEI? I thought that's what it was all about. What's this got to do with, if they're going to be the only ones who are doing this epic research, then even though I know the NOAA is got to be full of crap like the IAEA, just like I showed the IAEA, they got to be credible. They got to show their data. They got some stuff where you could go, whoa, what? They're going to have stuff coming from the NOAA, which is manned by people who want to feel respectable, want to feel credible, right? They got to have stuff that is going to fit the parameters of what science is about. And it reminds me of the nuclear scientist woman who was almost killed by her husband. And I looked at that and I said, that's a warning. That's a warning. Where they're just saying, look, we are all up next to all you folks who we depend on you to keep telling them lies. Hey? And so you never know. Could be your child. Could be whatever, whom you think has been in your corner all this time. And with one little command, that has been embedded by probably the CIA. I'm just saying, they put out the document, 18,000 page document about all their mind controlled studies. If they got rid of MK Ultra, that was only because they perfected it enough that it comes through your TV. Okay, it comes through the movies, it comes through the video games. Okay? And they're just letting all these people know, don't do that. Like there were a couple nuclear physicists in the Middle East. I think when it comes to the Middle East, they think that they're in control, and no, they're not. They've worked with the devil, cooperated with the devil way too much for way too long. Okay? And so, yeah, that's all that I need to say. Maybe this could be a short one, but if you watch the whole share, I truly appreciate it. Thank you. And the next fast we're inviting you to join us because it is so strengthening, so incredibly strengthening, so that you can gain control over your habits. Where I'm capable, like right now, my leg, I get so giddy about working out and running, and I was doing my 5 miles. I was so happy because my toe healed up where I broken my little toe. But I can forget that, I got to pay attention to my body, and I overdid it because I've been doing some serious like arm work too, and I overdid it and injured my leg. And so I can't exercise like that. But I'm like, I am not in the mood for going back to being 30 pounds heavier. So with the fasting, I am capable of eating sanely,
when I'm not fasting, because I know if I don't eat that, I'm not going to die. I'll feel uncomfortable, but even the discomfort will go away soon enough because I'm going to get into doing something, and then that's it. All right, so I heartily encourage you to join us for this end of the month fast. Dr. Shi, I'm sure, will let you know exactly. Oh, well, there we go. I'm not looking at the picture. April 25th to the 27th. And you don't have to have an appointment, and you can call him and do a consultation right there, okay? That is phenomenal. He's amazing, okay? And here at 25,000yearscycle.org, you can learn what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat and methods of doing that, like I just shared, because we're about healing, our healing. So much, so much. And up here are my specific products so you can assist me. And down here are our products in total so that you can find a level of health that there's nobody else out here offering. And I welcome other people contributing to our understanding of the world we're facing right now. It's not grandma and grandpa's world anymore. There are things that can be done to strengthen all of us. But we got to do it now because these dudes, they're freaking out because they know stuff is popping. I mean, that the tectonic plates, everything is affected by Fukushima. And unless we let the world know about it, trust me, the world is working with them devils. But we don't have to. That's not in our nature. I don't care how many centuries they keep trying to twist us all into being out of our minds. It is our core pathology to want heaven and to build heaven. Okay? All right. Straight Black Bride is our map and ownership papers to forever. Love you. Peace and blessings.